What's going on, guys? This is Gustavo with AB Boxing News. And something really interesting caught my mind let's say this last 2 days. And after watching Terrence Crawford's performance over Jose Benavidez, a lot of people are claiming that Terrence Crawford is the top guy at 147 at the moment. And before I start giving out my thoughts or predictions or how I rank these fighters, I just want to say that I'm going to be as fair as possible, rational with strong answers. Backup answers, right? So if anybody starts saying, "Oh, I'm a Terrence Crawford hater," I'm not a Terrence Crawford hater. I'm just proving the point that he cannot be number one when you're not beating the top guys. You feel me? So let's start with the performance with Terrence Crawford, right? It was a solid performance. Wasn't something special. We've seen it coming. Jose Benavidez is a decent fighter, but it's no fighter compared to Porter, Thurman, Spence at 147. So at the end of the day, you can't praise a guy to be number one when he's being nobody. Like Tim Bradley's mentioned a couple of interviews that people come at Crawford because of his resume, but you got to look at what he's done in the division at the moment, the way he's dominated guys. Of course, I'm never going to respect a legend like Tim Bradley, but in this case, like, it does matter who you verse, because he could look spectacular and fight level C fighters, level B fighters, level D fighters, and look spectacular, but we still haven't seen that moment when you're fighting level A fighters, elite caliber fighters, you know what I mean? Even with Gamboa, people are like, "Oh, he beat Gamboa." Yeah, Gamboa moved up to weight classes, and he still rocked Terrence Crawford. Of course, boxing is it's a punching game, but Gamboa hurt him. You feel me? And then Victor Postol's the only credible opponent that he's beaten. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, Adongo, he beat Adongo," but who has Adongo beat it? Yeah, of course, he's a unified champion, but at 140, like, it was like not even competitive at the time when Crawford was there. If you would have told me Crawford, go in retrospect, 5 years ago, when Danny was there, Devin Alexander, Tim Bradley, Amir Khan, like, you think Crawford would beat all those guys at 140? Hell no. Well, probably, yeah. I don't think about Danny though at 140. Who knows? Hard. And it's hard to debate, But Crawford, there's always a saying that skills pay the bills, and I agree. Skills pay the bills. But there's going to be a weight class that those skills are going to be your limit. Your skills aren't going to prevail you to victory. And I feel like at 147, Terrence Crawford's skills have met his match. Even Lomachenko, when he moved up to 35, everybody was saying, "Oh, Lomachenko has vulnerability. He's vulnerable. He shouldn't move up to 140 no more. He stays at 135. That's his peak." Same as Crawford. I think at 147. That's his peak. He's reached his limit. And for me to say, "Oh, Crawford's number one at 147," it can't be, because who has he beaten at 147? With 2 fights, you can't say he's a top dog at 147. You're beating Horn. An old man Pacquiao beat Horn. He could have been knocked out. Refs could have stopped it, but then he stopped it. And then Benavidez yesterday, it was a solid win, but he wasn't in top 5, pound for pound list, or even top 10. If you guys think it was, then I don't know what I was smoking today, though. I don't even smoke, but if I feel like I'm smoking, I'm smoking. I'm tripping. So, and then if I had to rank my welterweight division, my 147 top 3 fighters at the moment right now, this is how it's going to be. Just based on resume and what they've done in the sport, right? Actively in the game that's currently fighting, right? Number 1, I got Keith Thurman. Yes, you're going to say you just said actively, AB, but he hasn't retired from the game, sport of boxing, and nobody could say that Thurman hasn't beat anybody, because Thurman beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia back to back. People say, "Oh, but he didn't do it decisively like Crawford has done it." But you got to understand that when you fight a fighter that's the same level as you, or a little bit above you, or just a little bit slightly under you, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be dominant. Because remember, it's like playing a game of chess. If my IQ is the same as yours and we're going at it, it's not going to be a loop-sided victory. It's gonna take time, calculated, and just edging it out. You feel me? So, with Thurman, he's beating these both guys. So that enough leaves him at number one, and he's unified the champion at the one of the hardest weight classes by thus far in the sport of boxing. Number two goes Errol Spence. Errol Spence's resume is not that great. It's not that big, I want to say, but he's beaten Kell Brook. Kell Brook, who's by far at the time when Mayweather was fighting, everybody thought he was the number two and number three guy at that weight class at the time. And then yes, he fought Triple G. He got hurt, and then to fight Spence, and then Spence was struggling. But think about it like this: it took Kell Brook to put him in a limit, test him right in a way, to fight in the UK. Box him. Get him uncomfortable. That's what a champion does. He prevails, and to fight at that weight class, right? Spence proved he overcame the adversity. So for Spence to beat Kell Brook, and then Lamont, that was a decent win, even though Lamont is not the same like the one at 140. But to beat Lamont was pretty impressive. A combo, not a class A fighter, but just the way Spence is doing it, like nobody wants to fight Spence. Spence is proven at 147. There's no denying that. There is no denying that. And then you got Sean Porter. He's not the greatest boxer in the world. He's not the most skillful boxer in the world. But that guy, man, comes to fight, and that anybody that's stepping in the ring with Sean Porter, you gotta win that fight. You're gonna have to earn that victory. You feel me? And even with Porter, yes, he lost to Kell Brook. It was a close fight. That was a really close fight. And Porter understood that. He learned from it. And then he lost to Keith Thurman, which was another close fight. Which again, I always say, when you're fighting guys that are above you or similar in terms of boxing level, like caliber, it happens. Sometimes it's just a close fight and it doesn't go your way. Same thing with the Danny and Porter fight. Danny, judges could have gave it to Danny, and some judges gave, at the end of the day, the judges gave it to Porter. It could have gone either way because it's such a close fight. That's what boxing's about. Is when the best fight the best, is who the one that prevails, who wants it more. And that's why Sean Porter has proven it. He's fought the top guys thus far. If you look at it right now, he's fought Danny Garcia. He beat him. Thurman, he barely lost that fight. Kell Brook, he barely lost that fight too. And then he's beating some couple names at 147. You got Andre Berto. You got Devin Alexander. So, he fought Paulie Malignaggi. So and then he beat Broner. It was that catchweight at 44, but either way, that was still considered welterweight limit. So before anybody says, "Oh, Crawford this, Crawford that," like, I don't hate him. Like, he's fucking good. Like, he's great. He's good. I just can't be in this bandwagon and say he's number one until he beats at least Porter or like, put it like this: if fucking Crawford beats Spence, fuck it, he's number one. He beats Thurman, number one. That's it. If he beats Porter, he'll be number two to three. But if he beats Thurman and Spence, he's fucking number one. He's the man. I ain't gonna hate. I'm gonna say how it is. He's number one guy, but he's unproven. Give an example. Pacquiao. Everybody said with Pacquiao, "Oh, Pacquiao's the man. He's moving up weight class. He's dominating guys." But remember, once he reached 147, those are hard-hitting niggas out there, hard-hitting players out there. You feel me? Like, if you look at his, I think he has 7 losses, right? If you look at his 7 losses, 4 of them came at welterweight, right? He lost to Jeff Horn. He lost to Tim Bradley. He lost to Floyd. And he lost to Juan Manuel Marquez. Those are 4 losses at the welterweight division. Of course, he's a rare species. Like, he's a rare, one-of-a-kind fighter. It's a very special fighter. But like I always said, like before, skills reaches a limit, And Pacquiao's limit was at 147. It's a smaller guy. Like I said, I just don't know how Crawford could handle punches at 147. Like somebody like with Thurman, like with Crawford, like a Porter. Like the aggression. How is he gonna deal with that? And that's what concerns me. But if Crawford could overcome those and beat those guys in dominant fashion, or even if he wins, right? Even if he wins, my credits to him. I'll even admit it. I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on Twitter, Facebook. I'll admit it. I'll be like, "Yo, Terrence Crawford is the best in the world." I'll say it. I'm telling you right now. If that does happen, I will say it. I will say it. No matter what. I can't hate. You feel me? So, guys, let me know what you guys think about the rankings, perception on Crawford, or am I just a hater? Like, just be honest. You feel me? Like, I just want to make a rational point because, like, there's a limit to everything. And, you can't be the man until you beat the man, as the Nature Boy Ric Flair in WWE would say, you gotta beat the man to be the man. You know what I mean? So Thurman is currently the man, and yes, he's not injured. He's injured at the moment, almost 2 years. But if I had to compare it, I could also compare this to Andre Ward and Mikey Garcia. They weren't injured, but they weren't fighting for almost 2 years due to the legal troubles with the promoters. So 2 years is 2 years. Not fighting the ring is ring rust. It takes them a couple of tune-up fights to come back. But if Thurman comes back, the Thurman of old, or even better than the old, more motivated, Thurman's the guy to beat at 147, and I don't see nobody beating him at 147. Probably Spence will be the closest one to me if Thurman comes back better. But if Thurman comes back like injury has delayed him, Spence is the guy at number one. That's it. I can't even complain that. But let me know, guys.